Good afternoon from Portimao. Welcome back to Portugal. A grand setting for round 2 of the FIM CEV Repsol in 2020. We've not been here since 2016, but it's made a welcome return to the calendar. This stunning layout, 4.5 kilometers, 6 left turns and 9 right to create a wonderful setting here on the Algarve coast. We've had 2 great races to kick off proceedings here on Monday, and now it's time for what some might say is the main event of the day, the FIM Junior World Championship. The Moto3 riders really are the stars of the future. We'll be seeing probably a good handful of these riders on the world stage in 2021. And here you have some nice shots of the Autódromo International Algarve, and it really is a stunning setting.
Yeah, it really is. The sun beating down on us today makes it look even better. There you can see, I believe that is the circuit hotel that we're actually staying in. Lovely little 5-star thing, very, very nice. You can actually see the circuit from it, as you can tell probably. And this yesterday morning, let me talk you through the Moto3 from Estoril.
Yeah, here we have the Moto3 highlights from Estoril, and it was one very good race. The battle for the front, as always, is in the Junior Moto3 World Championship was fantastic, and the Leopard bike, the number 43 there of Xavi Artigas, probably a familiar name to the MotoGP fans out there. We saw a few riders crash in a strange accident, actually, all of them going down separately just before the chicane, but the focus was on the front, and it was Pedro Acosta who led most of the last lap, but just on the line, that man, the number 43, Xavi Artigas, won by the slenderest of margins, 0.003 seconds, as he snatched the win away from Pedro Acosta. However, Pedro Acosta has got half of his own back here, and he starts on pole for the race in Portimao, the number 37 on the MT Foundation 77 bike.
Yeah, he's looked good, hasn't he, Elliot? He's looked like he's been in fine form all weekend as the 16-year-old Spaniard. Of course, Red Bull Rookie last year and this year. He actually picked up 3 wins in the Red Bull Rookies last year, so he certainly is one for the future. The Red Bull Rookies class really is difficult, and so is this, the Moto3 Junior World Championship. Yeah,
this is an incredibly competitive class, as is with the European Talent Cup and Moto2 as well, but this really is where you set yourself for the Moto3 World Championship scene.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think we've only got to look at the list of names that have moved up to the World Championship this year from being in this championship last year to know, where the teams are looking in terms of talent. Obviously we had the champion from last year, Jeremy Alcoba. He has moved up into the World Championship, as well as the likes of Carlos Tata, Ryusei Yamanaka, Barry Baltus has also moved up, just to name a few.
Yeah, it really is, like we say, a breeding ground for the Moto3 World Championship, and the teams across the MotoGP World Championship will be keeping a close eye on how the riders fare, because, like you say, Jack, there's a whole host of names who we've seen move up from 2019 into 2020.
And speaking of names that have moved up, a few names that moved up in the past. The last time we were here, just look at qualifying. Pedro Acosta, of course, was the man who took pole position. And here's what he has to say about it.
I'm so happy because this is my first 4 years, and I'm so happy with the work of the team, with my work to do that, because after Estoril, with my second place in qualifying, I came here with I want to do the pole.
Well, Pedro Acosta said he wanted to do the pole, and that's exactly what he's done, and now he's got to convert it into a race victory. I mentioned at the top of the show, the last time we were here, was in 2016. And if we take a look back to the Moto3 Junior World Championship, we'll see some familiar names who were at the forefront. Dalla Porta was on pole, and Marcos Ramirez won the race, who were Leopard teammates in the 2019 Moto3 World Championship. So this really is, like we've said numerous times now, the breeding ground for the world stage.
Yeah, not just that, Elliot, but also that year in 2016, Dalla Porta went on to win this Junior World Championship Moto3 title. And then, of course, last year in 2019, he won the World Championship. So in the space of 3 years, he's gone from a Junior World Champion to a fully fledged World Champion. So in 3 years' time, we may see the same for the likes of Pedro Acosta, Xavi Artigas, maybe even someone like Lorenzo Felon or David Salvador.
So starting on pole then is Pedro Acosta. Like I previously mentioned, 0.003 seconds he was away from the opening race victory in Estoril. It really, really does not get much closer than that. This is his first Junior World Championship pole. He was second in Estoril, so he's gone one better there. And yeah, like you say, Jack, rightly pointing out, in 2019 Red Bull Rookies he had 3 wins. So he really is a star to watch, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's the real deal. And the man that, unfortunately for him, pipped him to the victory in Estoril lines up on second place. As our camera just turns to him there. Sorry, that's not Xavi Artigas, that's Diogo Moreira. Oh no, Lorenzo Felon. Got the wrong Estrella Galicia Junior team rider. Lorenzo Felon, of course, I got that one wrong because I forgot that Lorenzo Felon in Q2 had a lap cancelled, but it was actually then reinstated later. So he was promoted from 4th on the grid to 2nd. So that's why we see Lorenzo Felon, the young French rider, on the 2nd position and not the 2nd row.
Yeah, it was on the timing screens yesterday that it was Artigas who was in 2nd and Felon in 4th, but that lap has been reinstated. So Lorenzo Felon, the debutant in the Junior World Championship, starts from 2nd on the grid, the impressive Frenchman riding for Estrella Galicia 0-0. And here we have the championship leader and the man who won race 1, the only race in Estoril, Xavi Artigas, 7th. He qualified 7th, sorry, in Estoril, and then came through to win the race. So he's starting from the front row today, so he's going to have an easier job of it on the open laps, you'd have to think, if he gets away well. And yeah, like we say, I think some of you will recognise him from his absolutely stunning performance at last year's 2019 Valencia GP. He was, well, I think the most impressive thing about it for me, Jack, was that he just looked like he belonged there at the front.
Yeah, he did. He looked perfectly at home on the world stage. He wasn't phased. He wasn't, you know, he wasn't tiptoeing around anyone, and he just got stuck in. And he really did put on a great display for himself. Obviously, standing on the podium in his debut race. So yeah, certainly one that looks like when he goes to the World Championship will be at the front.
Yeah, and incidentally, he was in the 2018 Red Bull Rookies and beat the likes of Philip Salac, Carlos Tatai, Ryushi Yamanaka and Barry Bautas in that championship, who are all now on the Moto3 World Championship grid that will get underway this weekend in Jerez. So Artigas really is one to watch, that's for sure. We'll soon pan to the 2nd row and we'll see Diogo Moreira, who was the unfortunate man. I think we've just missed Diogo Moreira out there. This is David Salvador in the middle of the 2nd row, the number 38 on the KTM machine. He, like you can see there, had pole in Estoril and then finished 6th in the race, so not quite the race he would have been looking for, was the 17-year-old. However, he likes circuits with ups and downs, and Portimao is the definition of that circuit, so you can expect David Salvador to be hoping to stand on the top step today. Yeah,
he certainly can. He's another one that's in the Red Bull Rookies this year, so certainly a big future ahead of him as well. The man lining up next to him and 6th on the grid is Julian Gerald, who is teammate to the pole sitter Pedro Acosta. Julian Gerald is a much better qualifying performance for him. He qualified in 16th, here he is on screen now. He qualified in 16th in Estoril, so his 6th place here is far better. He was only a handful of tenths off the top spot, because we saw him qualifying. I think the top second were covered by, you know, the top around 15 were covered by a second, so it was pretty close.
Yeah, it was very close in qualifying. Less than half a second covers the top 7 on the grid, and then, yeah, like you say, Jack, it's the top 17 that are split by 0.9 seconds in qualifying. and then the top 18 was split by less than a second in warm-up this morning. So we really do have a belter on our hands here in Portimao. And Julian Gerald had a DNF in Estoril, so from 6th place on the grid, he'll be hoping he can better his best result in the Junior World Championship for 9th place he secured last year. As we look at a familiar face, no, it's not Raul Fernandez, it's his little brother Adrian. They are the spitting image of each other. El Petito, as he's called, he was 3rd in Estoril, qualified 5th, so he's qualified 7th here today, but that shouldn't be too much of a deterrence. He was 9th in last year's World Championship with a podium at Valencia, so he started his 2020 year off with a fantastic podium in Estoril, and he'll be hoping he can at least stand on the 3rd step, if not 2nd or 1st.
Yeah, definitely. That's where he'll be aiming for sure. And he was looking pretty cool with some cool shades there. Lining up to next to him is his teammate Kazuki Mizaki. Of course, many of you will recognise that name. He rode in the World Championship for a number of years with the School Riders squad. Didn't quite work out for him there. A few little troubles and just injuries and such as. So he's back in the Junior World Championship this year, and it's looking though he's just starting to get a grips of this category again. Of course, when you step back to a category, this is still a very high level, so it takes a little bit of a while to just adjust to the races, what you can expect from them and stuff like that. So he's had a much better qualifying here, from 13th in QP in Estoril to 8th here in Portimao.
Yeah, I think for Masaki it's sort of a year to try and get confidence back on the Moto3 bike, and it looks like he's going well in P8. That's a good position. Like you've mentioned, Jack, this is a very, very competitive grid, just like it is in the World Championship. Here we have Gerard Ryu, the 20-year-old. He's the oldest rider on the grid. 4th year in the class. He was 11th in Estoril, qualified 6th there, and he was 11th in the 2019 Junior World Championship, a best of P4. So he'll be hoping he can taste the podium champagne today.
Yeah, he ran quite well in Estoril, but just seemed to drop back in kind of the second half of the race. So we'll see if possibly there's a little bit of experience now on the bike after doing a full racing weekend, and hopefully he can figure out what was just holding him back in Estoril.
Here we have the leading junior talent team rider, the debutant in this class, Takumu Matsuyama. A very, very good qualifying, his best, as he qualified 18th in Estoril, so it's a really, really top day on Sunday for the Japanese rider on the Asia Talent Team bike. He was 2nd in last year's Asia Talent Cup, won 3 of those races, so he's definitely one to look out for as the leading junior talent team machine.
Yeah, he's a man that seems to race better than he qualifies, because he of course finished 9th in the race last time in Estoril. So starting a little bit higher, hopefully he can make his way up. And here's his teammate, Billy van Erder, the Australian. Many of you will sure know who Billy van Erder is. Of course, he trains quite a lot with Jack Miller. We've seen them over this lockdown period back home in Australia doing dirt track and all sorts of stuff. We were actually fortunate enough earlier in the year to go and watch the junior talent team guys train for a day, and I've got to say he is spectacular on a dirt track bike. Really, really fantastic bike control, and just looks so smooth and composed.
Yeah, it was impressive to see them. We followed them on did a little tour to Barcelona. We were in the car, thankfully not cycling up the hills. We weren't pushing to do that. But yeah, then they hit the dirt track at Rocco's Ranch, and they were super impressive, as you'd imagine, obviously being in the FIM Moto3 Junior World Championship. As we now take a look at 12th on the grid, Safai Fudin Azman, the Malaysian 19-year-old. He had a DNF in Estoril, as you can see there on your screen. Qualified 21st there, so he's made a step up here in Portimao, and he was 6th in the 2019 Asia Talent Cup. Won the last race of the season and got 3 of the podium, so this is his debut in the Moto3 Junior World Championship, and he's had a positive weekend so far.
Yeah, he has. It looks as though he's a rider that's kind of started to blossom over the last second half of the 2019 season. He's just carrying that confidence into 2020. Here's a man that will go well, Jose Julian Garcia on the 658 squad. Of course, he's finished 4th in Estoril and qualified 4th as well. So a little bit more of a struggle and a job on for him today, but 13th on the grid in Moto3. We know that there's big groups that form, so I'm sure he can work his way up.
Yeah, he's another man who's got World Championship experience under his belt. He raced in the Moto3 class with Viennese snipers at Aragon and Thailand. He was having a great race actually in Thailand. I think he was pushing for the top 10 and unfortunately crashed out. Not sure it was his fault. But yeah, he's moved to the 658 Squadra Corsa team for this year, and it looks like it's going well for him again. He's certainly one to watch out for as we take a look at the number 64 on 14th on the grid, David Munoz.
Yeah, he's another Red Bull rookie riding for the Apex Cardoso squad. 12th in the championship, obviously he finished 12th in Estoril, so you know, he's another man that seems to have made a slight step here. He qualified quite well in Estoril actually, he finished 10th, but his pace in the free practice sessions and stuff has seemed a little bit better this weekend, so hopefully he can fight closer to the top.
The engines are getting fired up then as we're going to take a look at the grid for the Moto3 Junior World Championship race here in Portimao. Row 1 is led by Pedro Acosta, with Lorenzo Fellon in the middle of the second row, Diogo Moreira not third, he's fourth, Artigas is third, Moreira fourth. Here we go, then we're looking at it now. David Salvador lines up on the middle of the second row in fifth, Julian Gerald sixth, Adrian Fernandez seventh, Kazuki Mizaki eighth, Gerard Ryu in ninth.
Yeah, and heading up row 4 is Takumu Matsuyama, as we said earlier. 11th is Billy Van Erder, the Australian, and 12th, the Malaysian Sairifudin Azman. 13th is Jose Julian Garcia. 14th is David Munoz, who'll be looking to come through. 15th is Daniel Munoz. And then row 6 has Scott Ogden and Max Cook, the two Brits, and Daniel Holgardo in 18th.
Row 7 is headed by Clement Rouge with Nicholas Spinelli and Ethan Guevara, the reigning European Talent Cup champion, in 21st. Row 8 is Senna Agius, Dirk Geiger and Filippo Palazzi. And row 9 consists of Joel Kelso, Rafael Fusto and Gabian Plonk.
And then row 10 we have Jose Antonio Rueda, who's looking a little bit better this weekend. 29th is Josh Watley and 30th is Ondrej Vostatek. 31st is Ricardo Arita, followed by Alex Diaz, and 33rd is Philip Rehak, with 34th on the grid. Leonardo Taccini, after a grid penalty of 5 places, is on the back of the grid.
There we go, and then the riders are on their warm-up lap for their only race of the day here in Portimao. I'm not going to make any predictions, Jack, because this is really an unpredictable class, and anyone, well, we don't really know where down to be fair, because it is that competitive. The top 17 are split by less than a second in qualifying, and in the race anything can happen when you're one behind another, so it really is something to look forward to.
Yeah, certainly. One thing we do know is that Pedro Acosta and Xavi Artigas will both be there, obviously 1-2 in the championship. They won't be letting anyone come past them with ease. 31 degrees for ambient temperature for this Moto3 race. It's been fluctuating around that the whole day, but track temperature has gone up a little bit. It's back up at 41. It was down to 37 earlier, so it might be getting a little bit greasy, but we'll see how that affects these guys. I'm sure they're used to it by now after a couple of days of running, as Lorenzo Fellon looks to be enjoying himself, pulling a big wheelie down the drop at turn 11.
It's a brave man doing that down there. I'm not sure the team would have been too impressed if they got that wrong on the warm-up lap, but thankfully he didn't. There's the championship standings then. As we mentioned, Xavi Artigas with a 5-point lead over Acosta. That's how they finished in Estoril, but that could all change today here in Portimao as the riders slow up, gather their thoughts, get their composure ready for the race start. Coming around the last sector, as we see one rider testing out that long lap penalty. Hopefully no one will be having to use that this race. As they roll up towards the grid, there's the wonderful setting of Portimao. The hills in the background, it really is a magnificent setting here on the Algarve coast.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's ready for 16 laps of Moto3 Junior World Championship action. There's your pole man, Pedro Acosta, rolling up to the grid. He looks like he's ready to go, just getting some temperature into those brakes. I'm sure the tyres have already got plenty temperature in, as he just adds a little bit more. So he's a man that's prepared, ready to go for the lights.
Who will get the whole shot then down into turn 1 down the hill? Will it be Pedro Acosta? Will it be Lorenzo Fellon? Will it be Artigas, or will it be someone off the front row? We're about to find out. There's Lorenzo Fellon, the rookie in this class, who pulls up to P2 on the grid, just gets himself set. Artigas is one of the last ones to roll up. There's the number 67, Gerard Ryu. Here we go then. It's time for the main event of the day as the Moto3 Junior World Championship riders get ready. The red flag is moved off the track. Watch for the lights. Oh, and that's definitely a jump start for Lorenzo Fallon. Not sure who else got off the front line, but that was definitely a jump start for Lorenzo Fallon. But who's going to get the whole shot? Looks like Artigas might be on the inside line. He is. He's going to get Acosta into the opening corner, but I'm not sure, Jack. That definitely was Lorenzo Fallon, but I think a number of them moved off the line there. We're going to have to wait and see as Ferrandez has made a good start. He's passing Diogo Moreira. I think he's into fourth. Here it is, but it's Artigas who leads from Pedro Acosta. That's not the start Acosta would have wanted.
No, certainly not. Absolute nightmare for them. Pedro Acosta, well, say nightmare, not too bad, he's only in second place, but a nightmare for Lorenzo Fallon, certainly, because I'm sure that will be a jump start. It's just whether him jumping early has caused anyone else to react. We'll let you know as soon as it comes through on our timing screens. But fourth is Raul Fernandez's brother, Adrian Fernandez, and it looked like, oh, I thought he was going to maybe go for a cheeky move there, but no, not quite. I think it's David Salvador, yes it is, David Salvador in fifth on the first of the Cunha Campeones bikes, and Diogo Moreira down in sixth.
Yeah, that's what we've got to look out for, because definitely Fallon moved, but my eyes pointed to him, but I'm not sure if his movement has caused anyone else to slightly release the clutch too early. We'll have to wait and find out, because we'll have confirmation of that soon as Artigas and Pedro Acosta are at it already at the front for first and second. They don't want Artigas to get away, and as Ferrandez dives at the inside of Fallon, that's a great move from the number 25, but Fallon's going to get the inside line into turn 14, and he keeps the position, as you say, Jack. David Salvador, solid start from him in P5, but that scrap in the two riders out front are just edging clear on this first lap. Yeah. Pedro Acosta and Xavi Artigas, your top two from Estoril, who are at it again.
Yeah, certainly they seem to be the top of the field in terms of the speed this weekend, and as we see Adrian Fernandez as they fly past our commentary box window, looks to have got the job done for third place. Yes, he has. So Lorenzo Fallon, even though he jumped the start, it hasn't really helped him that much. He dropped back from that second place grid slot after getting his lap reinstated. He's actually gone back another place now as David Salvador punches his way through. So Lorenzo Fallon, he's got his teammate behind him. Whether his teammate will be kind to him or not, we'll wait and see. And we are just waiting for that confirmation. Oh, there it is. Then. 2 long lap penalties for number 5, Lorenzo Fallon. So it's a nightmare. Pretty much his race for podium contention is over.
It's just flashing up with Fallon at the moment, so I think the other riders might have got away with it. We'll keep our eye and let you know, of course. But only at the minute is the number 5. Here we go, have a replay. Let's have a close look then. Fallon definitely jumps to start, but let's have a see if anyone else does. Oh, that's tight there. Artigas was pretty early, if you ask me. It's hard to tell from that angle.
Yeah,
Fallon definitely, they've got that right for sure, and then obviously they've got high-tech cameras, so they'll be getting the decisions absolutely spot on with the race direction.
Yeah, certainly they'll be looking at it from all angles and watching and re-watching again to make sure they get those decisions right. As we see the replay from the first lap, look at that, absolute chaos. All trying to keep the bike leaned over just a little bit to reduce the wheelie as Adrian Fernandez gets the wheel in the air and it slams down again. But back at the front, anyway, as we look on our timing screens, it seems that the top 2, they're actually just being pulled in on terms of the sector times, about a tenth, half a tenth here or there. So let's see when we get back to him. Yeah, look at that. They're all over the back of them again. So Adrian Fernandez is dragging everyone up. Is he taking his left foot off?
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. There is a slight bump on the inside of that turn 15. There is a slight bump there, so they've got to watch out for that. I think Fernandez might have hit that, but across the line then, 14 laps to go. Where's Lorenzo Fallon? He's there, so he'll be now notified via a pit board that he needs to take 2 long lap penalties. We saw it in Estoril for Ivan Ortola, and it really did ruin his race. There it is, confirmation, long lap penalty times 2 for the number 5 as David Salvador makes his way through on Fernandez into 3rd position.
Yeah, just looking at our timing screens as well, Elliot, and it seems that Takumu Matsuyama has dropped all the way down to 34th. Not sure what happened to him. It must have happened when we were on a replay, but he's 23 seconds off the lead. So the man that started in 10th place, the leading talent team rider, it's not a good day for him here in the Portuguese sun.
No, we'll have to try and find out what happened to Matsuyama there. Obviously, he started 10th, his best ever qualifying position, and he's now dropped down to 34th. He's still running, so maybe he's had an off-track excursion somewhere. Yeah. Incidentally, talking of junior talent team riders, Scott Ogden is now the leader of that quartet. He's in 13th, followed by Max Cook and Bill Van Erdig. So good starts from all of those guys as we come round now into turn 11, and it's still Artigas leading from Pedro Acosta, the top two in the championship, with Fernandez now back into third, past Salvador, and the long lap penalty is coming up. Not here, but they'll turn left here, and then it's coming up. So watch for Lorenzo Fellon if he dives round the outside. Here it's coming up now, so we'll see here. Lorenzo Fellon, will he do it? I don't think he's going to do it, no, not this lap. So maybe he missed the pit board that time around. We'll see if he sees it this time around. But basically, yeah, like you say, Jack, his podium challenge pretty much over unless he has a fantastic last after the race, as we see the number 97 go down. That is Filippo Palazza, the 16-year-old Italian. Hopefully he's able to get back to his feet. Looks like he is.
Yeah, it looked like he was just holding his shoulder there, so let's hope that he's okay and he hasn't damaged anything. As we go back to the front, and Xavi Artigas is still in the lead. Pedro Acosta not quite able to make the move happen yet. Man on the Husqvarna in third, Adrian Fernandez, is looking racy, certainly is, and he's dragging David Salvador with him as these four now just have a slight gap.
There we see the 97 walking away. Let's have a look what happened. Yeah, just a low side there at the top of the hill, unfortunate.
Yeah, it looks like it's just his own small mistake there, just took the front, so unfortunate end to his race here in Portugal.
So we're at the front then. The top four have got a little slight gap to Fellon in fifth. It's about 0.4 of a second, but that can easily be diminished in a matter of corners. What's the gap to the top guys? I think we've got down to 18th. There's 4 seconds splitting them, so there's not much to choose. Here's confirmation on the bottom of your screen then. Rider number 5, Fellon there, the rider out wide. 2 long lap penalties. We'll have to see if he takes it this time around.
Yeah, he certainly needs to take it because he doesn't want to get flagged or have another penalty imposed on him for not taking his 2 long laps. So we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll make sure that we tell you when we do see him dive down into the long lap penalty, which is just here. No, not going to do it this time. Yeah,
he's got 5 laps to do it, so I think that's 2 of his 5 laps chalked off. So if he doesn't do it next time around, he has to do it on his other 2 laps. We saw Ivan Ortola do that in the European Talent Cup race in Estoril, and he ended up finishing 9th and outside the podium battle. But talking of podium battles, here we go then. It's Artigas leading from Acosta, and Raul Fernandez is getting a good slipstream down the straight. Who is going to lead into turn 1? Fernandez pulls out of the slipstream, and I think he's going to take second off Pedro Acosta. He certainly is. A great move there from the number 25, and he is now charging towards the lead, number 43.
Yeah, and it looks like it's just almost set up David Salvador to get up the inside of Pedro Acosta. 37 and 38 going to battle it out for one tiny piece of real estate. Looks as though Acosta's going to get slipstream down into turn 5. Let's see if David Salvador can get the move done on the brakes. No, he just files in behind him. Speaking as well, you said Izan Guevara there earlier. Just a quick update on the former ETC champion from last year. He's down in 20th actually. It's been a difficult weekend for him. He had a really good weekend in Estoril actually. He was 8th in QP and 8th in the race, but here it's just not quite worked for him. Possibly setup issues. It is a difficult track to master, this one. So and of course first time that these guys probably will have been here for most of them. So yeah, taking a little while to get used to Moto3 in Portugal.
Yeah, absolutely. And just on this lap, we can see here that Artigas is taking Fernandez and Acosta with him. There's a slight gap to the 4th place man. That's Daniel Holgardo. He switched to the Aspar team this year. He was with the Estrella Galicia junior team last year, and he was, well, a very impressive rider last year.
Yeah, he really
on the podium a few times. So he's now in 4th place, and he had a good ride in Estoril as well. So, and he started out as one of the favourites for the championship, really, as one of the only riders in the top 10, along with Fernandez. Oh, there we go then. I've just spotted Fellon doing one of the long lap penalties. Where's he dropped down to, we'll see it over the line, but just caught my eye at the back of the screen there. So that's his first one done. He's obviously seen his pit board, so the second one should be coming along this lap as we see Pedro Acosta pulling out the slipstream, and Fernandez is there as well, but Artigas has got the inside line, but Acosta breaks late. Who's going to get into turn 1 first? And it is Acosta. Brilliant move round the outside for the number 37 rider. He now takes the baton in the lead, and it's Fernandez going to go up the inside. He is of the number 40 Artigas, so I'd say Artigas loses 2 places in 2 corners. In 3 corners, sorry, but he's straight back up the inside. Fernandez getting out the seat there. That was a tough move from Artigas, but that's exactly what you got to do. You got to bite straight back as soon as you get overtaken, and I think Fernandez is going to overtaken by Salvador. He is, so that's not a good opening sector for the number 25.
Yeah, definitely not. Really got bullied backwards there, didn't he? And just a quick update on Lorenzo Felon. That long lap penalty dropped him down to 18th. So really, really a costly one for him. He's just behind Cyrifid and Asman, who's had a little bit of a poor start. He's down to 17th from 12th from where he started on the grid.
Yeah, so now Felon, after starting second on the grid, is now 6.2 seconds off the lead. He's got another one to take, remember, so that's going to drop him outside the top 20, I think. So
yeah, it seemed like it cost him about 5 seconds earlier. So yeah, he's going to be out of the top 20, around 24th, I think.
Yeah, that's not good for the number 5, but we'll see if he can make it back up into points places. As we now have a replay, what's this going to be of? Is it going to be the? It is going to be the move of Artigas up the inside of Adrian Fernandez. Yeah, Fernandez getting it a little bit out of shape first time around, and then when he was getting back on the gas, as you see Felon taking second. So that's him done and dusted then. That's all he needed to do. So now he can get his head down. Who's he behind there? That is the number 60 of Dirk Geiger.
Yeah, so he's down in 22nd by the looks of it. We'll check again when they update as they come across the line in our timing screens. But just want to have a quick mention to the man in 3rd place now, Daniel Holgardo. Has come through from 18th on the grid, so it seems that he's racing much better than he was showing qualifying. There's actually no Adrian Fernandez has sniped him back, and now he's almost down to 5th place, but now he wipes the nose of David Salvador. And look at this pack now as well. We've got Jose Julian Garcia on the 658 machine, the red and white Honda. He's just there in the centre of your screen right now, looking to break into this top 5.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what has happened in that last sector that we missed, because the top 2 guys have now got a good half a second on Fernandez there in 3rd. So I'm not sure if it was just a little battle or someone's made a mistake, or I'm not sure. We'll have to try and get a replay of that. But the top 2 now have got a little bit of a buffer to 3rd place. We'll see if they can reel them back in. There's Julian Garcia on the 658 Squadra Corsa machine at the back, as Fernandez takes that wide sweeping line again over the crest of the hill. It seems to be working for him though.
Yeah, it certainly does. There's just a quick update on all the talent team guys. You see them going through there. There's Scott Ogden at the back of your picture, and just behind him is the Australian lead on Erder, but ahead of them, 3 places ahead. Is that Misaki? That might be Misaki. He's just crashed out of 8th place. So the returnee from the World Championship has thrown it down the road. I'm not too sure where that would be on the track. Possibly at the top of the hill at turn 11, as we've just gone through there.
Yeah, let's have a look at what happened here.
Oh no, it was earlier in the lap.
Hill.
Oh, he's been collected. I'm not sure who that was.
Doesn't look like Masaki's fault, to be fair to him. I think a rider in front was just, he might have missed a gear, or he's had a little bit of a moment, and Masaki's had nowhere to go and unfortunately ran into the back of it. That's the race over for the Japanese rider. But back at the front, it's Acosta versus Artigas again, and Artigas leads down into turn 1 as 9 laps to go. This race is flying by. It's a great battle out front, and yeah, good to mention Max Cook. He had a best ever finish last time out in Estoril of 7th. He's sitting 7th now. He's got a little bit of a gap, I think around a second to get up to these top guys. Yeah, there you can see it there. Max Cook just edging clear of Gerard Ryu in 8th. So, well, we saw it in Estoril. He was brilliant. He did all the hard work to get on the back of the end group to finish 7th. He's got to do a similar thing again here with 9 laps to go. So let's see if he can repeat his feat of Estoril. Yeah,
exactly the same situation for the young Brit. So we'll see what he can do. That looks like one of the Apex Cardoso boys. That's possibly number 60. Yes, it is number 64, David Munoz. So that's a nightmare for him. Not too sure. He was in that leading pack actually. So I wonder if if it was possibly him that had the contact with Misaki. Yeah, possibly, because that looks like just the section of track afterwards, the Craig Jones corner coming down through there. So I wonder if the contact has hampered his race there.
Yeah, I think that's the rider who saw having to take a hold in action from the second one. I think you're right in that, Jack. So we'll have to see what the causes of that are, as Artigas and Pedro Acosta have been reeled in. They're not getting away from this fight. Fernandez has done well and he's dragged the others with him.
Yeah, speaking of dragging the others with him, it looks as though Max Cook isn't dragging the others with him. It seems that he's the lonely man, and he's about, what, 1.5 seconds up to the gap in front and 1.5 seconds from the guys behind. So, well, about a second actually each way. So he's sandwiched in the middle. See if we can make progress forwards.
Yeah, let's just compare Max's lap times to those of the leaders then when they come across the line. Let's see if he's reeling them in to make it a 7-rider fight, not a 6-rider fight. The last lap for Max was a 150.3, so around about what the riders are doing in front of him. So 8 laps to go. He's still got plenty of time if he wants to challenge for the podium places, but 7th, another great ride from the Bristolian.
Yeah, certainly. Let's hope he can get back up there. As we look back at the front pack again, Jose Julian Garcia will be hoping to make some forward progress. Of course, finished 4th last time. At the minute, he's just down in 6th place, so 2 spots worse than he did, but still, he was only about one second off the win last time or something anyway, so, you know, he's about exactly the same scenario as he was in Estoril.
Yeah, he was 8th in the Junior World Championship last year with 3 podiums, so he's looking to get another podium to his name here in Portimao and hopefully go better for his sake anyway.
Yeah, and of course,
8th in the championship. Here we have Max Cook then. He's reeling them in. He's got these firmly in his sights and he is on a mission. Is Max Cook the number 30? I think that's visibly close if my eyes don't deceive me.
So yeah, he actually picked up half a second in split 1 on this lap. He's dropped a 10th back. Sorry, no, he hasn't dropped a 10th. He's held station in sector 2. So it does seem as though Max Cook is closing in, as you just see it there, flash up on your screen. Number 7th place, Max Cook, number 30. So the talent team boys will be biting their fingernails in the garage, hoping that their young rider can close in on this lead group of 6.
Yeah, they will, and we just saw Adrian Fernandez taking Pedro Acosta there. Oh, who's gone down? That looks like Pedro Acosta's teammate. It is. It's Julian Gerald. Disaster for the number 76 rider here in Portimao.
Yeah,
let's have a look at what happened here. That's around turn 14, or is it turn 13? Yeah, it is. Just a little low side, a typical crash on the front end, pushing the front brake too much and just eventually running out of grip.
Yeah, exactly, Elliot. It's a real shame that his race started in 6th on the grid. Really good showing from him this weekend, but a shame that he's not going to score any points in this one.
Here we go then. Artigas from Acosta, from Fernandez. That was your podium in Estoril, and it's the same 3 who are leading the way here in Portimao as Fernandez gets up the inside of Pedro Acosta and
David Salvador didn't need any invitation.
Thank you very much. I'll have that place into 3rd. I thought Jose Julian Garcia was going to get past as well, but not quite. Acosta has recovered. And I think, yeah, Max Cook is right on the back of him now, so he's done the hard work again. Max Cook is right there. It's a 7-rider battle for the podium positions. With 6.5 laps to go, here's Acosta up the inside of Salvador. Great move there from the Spaniard.
Yeah, certainly, like, with Max Cook closing in on these guys. Of course, we do have quite a long straight here in Portimao, but we don't really have another one. So there's only one situation around the track where Max Cook is possibly going to lose out with a slipstream. So this is maybe why we're seeing him being able to close in on these guys, I say easily, but quickly enough, because now he has 7 laps to formulate a plan and see how he wants to attack them.
Yeah, this is literally copy and paste from 6 days ago from Max Cook. He's doing extremely well. And the battle for the podium positions, the tangle for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th and higher is only going to help Max Cook, and he'll get some nice little slipstream down the straight. But it's still Artigas who leads from the front. He's looking comfortable there as the Leopard rider. Dipped down into turn 1 as Fernandez, again, looking comfortable. After his podium, he'll be brimming of confidence from Estoril.
Yeah, he certainly will be. I don't know if you spotted there earlier, but Jose Julian Garcia just waved his left hand up in the air as they came through turn 1. I'm not too sure whether he was unhappy with a manoeuvre from someone or just signalling to the guys behind him, like, come on, tag on the back, we can come through these guys and win this.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't see that. It was a good spot from you, Jack. I'd imagine it was trying to say to the guys behind him, stick behind me. There's no point trying to squabble over 5th and 6th place. Let's just get our heads down and let's just try and cut our way through to first. But I don't think that's a tactic that's going to work, because they all want to back. Oh, that's a big moment there. I think that was Pedro Acosta. It was coming up the hill, and there's Fernandez again. He takes that wide line over the hill, but it seems to be a pretty quick line because he's closed right in on the back of Artigas. Is he going to make a move? Yes, he is. What a move on the brakes into turn 11 for Fernandez. Can he keep it? Yes, he can. That's a grand move from Fernandez.
Really good move there from Fernandez, obviously diving down the hill as he spotted. It looked as though he was setting it up a couple of turns early, just trying to get the perfect line down through the Craig Jones corner. But now, I tell you what, that little move, it does seem to have closed the pack up again, as we see Pedro Acosta just having a little twitch at the rear end. Seems as though we're getting the first few signs that the tyres are starting to go off, as that will be some move. If he goes round the outside there, Xavi Artigas doesn't look like he's going to make it work, and he's actually going to open himself up to attack from, well, pretty much everyone behind him. Look at this, we're about 5 abreast now as we come down into turn 1. I don't know who's going to have it. Actually, Xavi Artigas is going to somehow manage to snap back into the lead, and Adrian Fernandez gets pushed down to 3rd.
That's exactly what we're used to seeing in the FIM Junior World Championship. And there's Acosta, the poleman, going into first place at turn 3. A great move under Artigas. And I think, yeah, this is a straight 7-rider battle now for the victory. Gerard Ryu is a good 3 seconds behind. You can see the gaggle coming over here. And Max Cook is firmly in the hunt now. Look at that. The British Talent Team rider up the hill. He's now in 6th place, and he's got his eyes firmly set on a maiden podium. The number 30 there with the black eye helmet, which I absolutely love.
Yeah, it does look quite cool. Nice black helmet. He was actually just formulating phase 1 of his plan there as he was trying to come through them, but he was up into 5th place. He's just been demoted back to 6th, as we see Adrian Fernandez again taking that really peculiar line. I say peculiar, it's probably quite fast. He is a racer. I'm not, after all, so he knows what he's doing. As Julian Garcia dived up the inside. Not sure if he got 1 or 2 or none of them. Looks like he got none of them. Yeah, just held up, and it's actually pushed Max Cook out, and Daniel Holgardo has pushed through back into 6th place again. Yeah, with just over 4 laps to go, we're seeing some really good moves coming in from these boys, and like you say, Jack, it's an unusual line that Fernandez takes over the hill, but it clearly works for him because he's doing it every lap. What's this replay of? Yeah, it's just a slow-mo of them coming over the hill, and there you see the line from the number 25 pulling a little wheelie, as all the riders will do as they come over the crest. Just focus in on the number 30 of Max Cook. Yeah, it does look nice, that British Talent Team Honda, doesn't it? Very lovely little paint job on it as you see them going through the really fast turn 10 there. Right then, 4 laps to go. Dip down into turn 1. And it's still Artigas leading from the front from Acosta. They've been the 2 protagonists so far in the championship, and they're the 2 protagonists in the race as well. But they ain't going to have it all their own way. It's a 7-rider battle at the front, and it's 7 riders who will all want to win and who have all got the capabilities of winning. Some are looking for their maiden podium. Others will want to cement their position in the championship and get a good head start as we head to ref, as Fernandez there makes a class move up the inside at turn 5. Who's looked a little bit further back. There's Gerard Ryu ahead of Bill Van Erden, and there's Scott Ogden just behind him. A great race for the 2 junior talent team boys. Billy Van Erden in 9th, Scott Ogden in 10th. So they would both achieve their best ever results in the Junior World Championship if things stay like they are. So it's a good ride from those riders. And of course it would both get the pair of them onto the scoreboard in 2020. Unfortunately they both DNF'd in Estoril, so Scott Ogden was actually one of the 3 riders that had that really strange incident at the really tight uphill left-right chicane in Estoril, where 3 of them all took the front in separate accidents. Yeah, that really was a strange incident, wasn't it? The first man went down, and then 2 others went straight down after, so they must have been put off by the riders falling in front of them. But what's the gap from Gerard Ryu to the front? With all the top 7 riders squabbling, are they closing them down? We'll have to see what their lap times are over the line, but with 3 laps to go, it doesn't look like they can do it. But having said that, Jack just pointed out on the timing screen, the last lap for Gerard Ryu was a 1:51.1, and Max Cook
and the others were 1:51.7. So that's just interesting to see. But like I say, with 3 laps to go, there's very little time remaining.
Yeah, and it seems again that Gerard Ryu has closed that gap here. He did 1:51 flat, with Max Cook doing a 1:51.2, and the rest of the top guys somewhere in that 1:51 range. Only closing in about a tenth or two that lap, but we'll keep an eye on it anyway. I don't think they've got enough time, even if they do start closing them in, to close that gap down and make this a, what would it be then? It would be a 10-bike race for the lead, but we'll keep an eye on it anyway.
Acosta there just showing a wheel too. The race leader Artigas at turn 3 didn't quite get the move done though. As we power up towards the hill, Artigas has been, well, he has been the race leader for a while now, so he is really leading this from the front. He clearly likes to be leading the race from the front and controlling it. But with 2.5 laps to go, like we've said, all these riders are going to be hungry for that podium, so he's going to have his work cut out to keep it that way.
Yeah, certainly, and as you say, Elliot, he does seem to be fairly comfortable leading the race from the front. I wonder if part of that is his World Championship experience coming in, just comfortable knowing that riders behind him could possibly be quicker than him in certain sections, and he's just happy enough doing his own thing out front, running the lines that he wants. Yeah,
absolutely, and we mentioned before how comfortable he was on the world stage in Valencia, and it was the most impressive thing. He was just out front. He wasn't, none of the riders are obviously scared, but he wasn't scared to mix it with the more experienced riders, and he was just a tenth off winning that race as a wild card, which is super, super impressive. But here we go then. As they cross the line now, it'll be 2 laps to go. That was close coming up the hill between Acosta and Artigas. Pedro Acosta is going to have the inside line down to turn 1, so who is going to be last of the late breakers? It's Fernandez. I didn't see that one coming. Fernandez, what a move then. Got the slipstream down the straight, and he now leads with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, unfortunately for British motorcycle fans, Max Cook seemed to, I don't know what happened there, but he must have made a mistake in one sector in the last lap, because he's just, well, actually he's recovered it just in this last split alone, but he was about 2 or 3 tenths off the back of them coming across the line. So we'll see what he can do coming into the final lap and a half. But as you say, Elliot, Adrian Fernandez has hit the front, but not anymore. Pedro Acosta, wow, big bump on the inside there, just about gets it stopped. Of course, the positive camber on that probably helped him getting it stopped there, as he can just really lay into the turn. But I think, wow, drops it over the nose, back into the lead, Adrian Fernandez, with a lap and a half to go.
It really is kicking off now between the Junior World Championship boys. Some interesting moves coming in there, and it's Fernandez who leads the way, going over the hill through the left-hander and back up the hill towards turn 10 and 11. Is Acosta going to have a look there? Yes, he is. That's a late braking move, and he just thinks better of it there. That could have been a disaster for both of them at the front, but coming into the last sector with 1 and a bit laps to go, this is anybody's race. It really is. And there's Salvador getting past Artigas. Is he going to make it stick? I think he is, unless Artigas holds it around the outside, which it does. That's well played from the number 43, as we see Holgardo taking over from...
That's quite a tense looking garage there.
It was, yeah, that just put me off for a minute there. As we round the last corner then, this is it then. There'll be some slipstream up the straight, and as we cross the line, it'll be last lap time. And what a drive Acosta got there. That's interesting though. He got a good drive, but he wasn't able to get it in front to the line. It was for Fernandez who led over the line. So let's see who takes the lead into turn 1. I think Fernandez is going to hold it. He is. So that's the first pass in place, the first real pass in place, done and dusted. But here's another one coming straight up, and it's about 4 abreast into there. But
David Salvador was really hard on the brakes there. He was skating all over the place, just trying to make his way up into the top 4. But as we say, it's Adrian Fernandez coming down to complete this first sector on the final lap. Remember on the last lap he got taken here. I wonder if he's going to get it again. Yes, already he is, by 2 of them by it looks like. Whoa, Artigas is just trying to squeeze him out. He's going to force him wide. He'll use up all the road, push him wide. And I think that's allowed David Salvador again up into through 3rd place. Yes, it has. So Fernandez back to 4th.
Yeah, not a good couple of corners there for Fernandez. He's got some work to do if he's going to take his maiden victory in the Junior World Championship. It's now Pedro Acosta who finished 2nd. Remember, last time out in Estoril, he was hoping to go 1 better, and Artigas is hoping to make it a double victory in 2020. Let's see then, up over the crest. This is a classic move. It's incoming. I thought David Salvador was going to go for Artigas there, but Artigas wasn't close enough to your race leader, Pedro Acosta. Has Pedro Acosta timed this to perfection? We'll wait and see. Here's another pass in place. And are we going to see a dive at the inside? Fernandez up to third. Salvador getting it out of shape, but that's allowed the other riders. I don't know how to call this, Jack. Salvador is going up to third. Is he going to pass Fernandez? Yes, he is. We've got to watch the top two. It's the same top two from Estoril. They've now got a gap, so now this gaggle have only got to hope for third. But who's going to get the run to the line? Round the final corner we come. Who is going to get it? It's Artigas. He looks like he's got a great run from Acosta.
Fernandez around the outside.
Amazing. Who's going to take it? I think it's going to be Acosta. I don't think Artigas has got enough to get it to the line. No, not quite.
And who got third? I'm not sure who it was.
I think it was Salvador, Jack.
Yes, it was Salvador from Holgardo. Jose Julian Garcia, who got rode around the outside of Fernandez, but Fernandez got squeezed out and finished 6th in the end. So he went from leading going into the last lap down to 6th place.
Oh, catch your breath after that. 0.003 in it in Estoril. They've swapped positions. Pedro Acosta won, and it was Artigas in second. 0.017. There's really nothing to choose between these two riders in the 2020 Junior World Championship, and rightly so. Pedro Acosta pops a wheelie down the back straight. He is a winner in the FIM Junior World Championship, and what a ride it was from the number 37. Absolutely over the moon. What a race that was. Artigas unlucky again to not pip him on the line. If Pedro Acosta would have got pipped on the line for a second race in a row, I don't think he'd have been too impressed, but he managed to get a good enough run up the hill to hold off Artigas, who was coming. If the finish line was another 50 metres down the straight, it might have been a different story, but lucky enough for the number 37, it wasn't. And he'll be standing on the top step of the podium. And David Salvador will be on the podium. That's his best ever result in the Junior World Championship. His best result last year was 6th in Barcelona, as we look at Artigas, unlucky not to win the race, but he'll be happy with a 2nd place. Just seen Lorenzo Fallon go for a picture there, an update on him. He finished 17th in the end, so he managed to pick off a few riders after his double long lap penalty, but no points unfortunately for the Frenchman. There is David Salvador, the man who started 5th place. He will stand on the podium, and that's the man who we mentioned who likes up and down circuits, so he's done well on a track he clearly likes to get on the podium. But there's the man who'll be on top of the podium. It's Pedro Acosta, who'll roll into pit lane. No doubt have some celebrations with his team. What a ride, and he really is coming of age in 2020, as is that man there, the Leopard man. Looks like we're set for an absolutely cracking battle between these two in this year's 2020 Championship. I can't wait to see what they've got to offer in Jerez, a track they both know, of course. Stunning ride from the pair of them, and David Salvador, you can see in the background, get some hugs from his team. A great ride from the number 38 rider. And like I say, we'll be seeing these riders back out for round 3 at the end of August in Jerez for 2 race days, one on the Saturday and one on the Sunday. There is Artigas. We'll surely be seeing him in the 2021 Moto3 Junior World Championship, you have to think. You can hear the team posing for the photos, celebrating. Rightly so, they'll be having a good night this evening. The 3rd place for David Salvador, like we've said. He was 4th in the Red Bull Rookies last year. He won at Aragon, so he knows what it's like to be on the podium, and he gets to stand on the podium again in the Portuguese sunshine. We'll be hearing from Pedro Acosta shortly. He'll be talking to Jack, who's made his way down to Parc Fermé once more. Quickly run you through the remaining top 10. It's Daniel Holgardo was 4th, just ahead of Jose Julian Garcia. Adrian Fernandez, who was looking good to take a first win in the Junior World Championship. He finishes 6th, so not what he would have been looking for, but nevertheless a great ride from the young Spaniard. Max Cook repeats his Estoril performance. P7 for the British Talent Team rider, with Gerard Ryu, Bill Van Aert and Scott Ogden rounding out the top 10. That's the best ever results in the Junior World Championship for Bill Van Aert and Scott Ogden. And I think we're ready. I think we're ready to go down and listen to your race winner, Pedro Acosta.
Pedro Acosta, 2nd in Estoril, now 1st in Portimao. You're level on points at the top of the championship with Xavi Artigas.
Yeah, incredible race after the pole position. And all the race I was thinking in the last lap, like Estoril, and that's it. No, I don't have word to describe anything, and I want to dedicate this for the Iron Riders, for the Andreas Perez family, and for the Andreas Perez, because I think that he helped me to win this race.
¿Y en español?
Bueno, ha sido una buena carrera después de la pole position, y toda la carrera iba pensando en la última vuelta para no cometer el mismo error que en Estoril, ¿no? Y no tengo palabras para describir la primera victoria después de 3 años corriendo aquí, entonces no tengo palabras. Quiero dedicárselo a los Iron Riders, a la familia de Andreas Pérez y sobre todo a él, ya que creo que me ha ayudado a ganar esta carrera.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Here's a replay of what went down just a few minutes ago in the Junior Moto3 World Championship race here in Portimao, and it was a great scrap out front, and it was your top 2 there in the championship, Artigas and Pedro Acosta, who were at the forefront. Alonso fell onside from 2nd, but he had a long lap penalty to take, well, 2 long lap penalties to take, which ultimately cost him the chance to fight for a maiden podium in this class. But out from the podium battle raged on. That was Kazuki Mizaki unfortunately going down. Not his fault, but not the day he would have been looking for. We saw a number of riders crash now. That was the number 76 of Julian Gerald. But back at the front, it was a proper scrap for victory. Artigas and Pedro Acosta going at it, almost coming together there. That was a close one. Fernandez led for some stages. Pedro Acosta looking at the inside there. Not quite that time as we saw the riders going at it at every corner at the lap. It really was a sensational race. Into turn 5, a top passing opportunity, which saw Pedro Acosta and Artigas fighting for the win, and this was on the last lap. Pedro Acosta and Artigas going for the line, but it was roles reversed from Estoril as Acosta edged out Artigas by 0.017 seconds for his first FIM Junior World Championship race victory. Here we go then, let's have a look at the race results from the 2nd round of the FIM Junior World Championship. Pedro Acosta won from Xavi Artigas and David Salvador on the podium. Daniel Holgardo, Jose Julian Garcia, Adrian Fernandez and Max Cook were in the fight for the win, with Gerard Ryu, Bill Van Aert and we'll see Scott Ogden on the next page rounding out the top 10. Diogo Moreira was 11th with Daniel Munoz in 12th, Ethan Guevara 13th, Saifuddin Azman 14th, Nicolas Spinelli 15th, Senna Agus 16th and Lorenzo fell on 17th.
Yeah, and Julian Gerald in 26th. Alejandro Diaz, Hikaru Arita, Takumu Matsuyama after something happened to him, but I'm still not too quite sure, but not a good race for him anyway. So it will be Pedro Acosta then stepping onto the top spot on the podium. But first, David Salvador, third place. That's a pretty good run from him on the number 38, the Canadian Campeones machine. Second place, Xavi Artigas, who's now joint championship leader with this man, Pedro Acosta. Of course, for David Salvador, that is a first podium for him as well. So pretty good, really good day for him. There's the little arm bump, of course, in these COVID times, something a little bit different.
And to the winner, Pedro Acosta.
There he is then, Pedro Acosta, lifting the trophy aloft. And he'll receive a nice check of 250 euros. Treat himself to a nice celebratory meal tonight. Well deserved one too, as we get set for the Spanish national anthem.
Congratulations.
So Pedro Acosta then with his first win in this Moto3 Junior World Championship. Congratulations to him. A day I'm sure he'll never forget.
Here are the championship standings then for the FIM Junior World Championship. Pedro Acosta and Javier Artigas tied on points after winning one race each and coming second in the other. David Salvador and Adrian Fernandez are also tied in third and fourth, with Daniel Holgardo, Julian Garcia, Max Cook, Gerard Ryu and Ethan Guevara rounding out the top 9. 10th is Billy Van Erder, with Takumu Matsuyama, Diogo Moreira, Scott Ogden, Kazuki Mizaki and Daniel Munoz completing the top 15. David Munoz is 16th with Nicholas Spinelli in 17th. And in 18th and 19th we've got Saifeddin Azman and the Brit Josh Watley.
So congratulations to Pedro Acosta. It looks as though he is going to be the firm favourite to take the fight to what was the championship favourite, Xavi Artigas, this year in 2020. We'll look forward to a lot more battles between those two and others, as we saw in that race just gone there. Big wheelie to celebrate his first win in the Moto3 World Championship, Junior World Championship. Hopefully one day he'll do that as well in the World Championship. But yeah, congratulations, Pedro Acosta.